Broadcasting from Manhattan Beach and the World Wide Web, you're listening to CHSR, HealthyLife.net.
As a service to our listeners, this program is for general information and entertainment purposes only. CHSR HealthyLife.net does not recommend, endorse, or object to the views, products, or topics expressed or discussed by show hosts or their guests. We suggest you always consult with your own personal, medical, financial, or legal advisor.
It's time now for the Patty Conklin Show, exclusively on HealthyLife.net radio.
Welcome, folks. This is Frenesa K. Hall, MD, as Patty likes to say, and she is off today. I am so happy to have my guests on this show, Ray and Nina Crist. They are people that I've gotten to know over the past 6 months and have amazing stories, are doing amazing work, and are just lovely individuals full of knowledge and wisdom. So Ray and Nina, they are calling in from Greece, and let's just get this ball rolling. Welcome.
Hello, Frenesa. It's so good to be talking to you again. Thank you so much for having us over.
Hello, thank you. It's so nice to be together in this way.
I know. It's been a while. So, Ray, your story, of how you got from your old life to now, to me, is so compelling. I think that people give up their power over their health and wellness, and you are a living testament to the power that we actually have. Can you give a little thumbnail sketch of the trajectory of your life from, before and after?
Yeah, absolutely. As you know, I used to be a fashion and advertisement photographer in Athens, Greece, through the 90s. And I had climbed really in an awesome way in my career. I reached the place of being a Vogue photographer and being in the top advertisement place of all the bulletin boards and bullet boards in the city, in the center, and the highways everywhere. And I lived a very high-paced life. And I was living what I thought was a successful career, and I was doing really well. But my poor body wasn't agreeing with a 90-hour week of being in a closed studio with no sunlight and only technical light and all that. And in 2003, I had this abdominal pain. I went in very early at 6 a.m. into a hospital because I was just in such pain. And I was very quickly diagnosed with some scans they did that I had cancer in my kidneys and what they suspected also my lungs and my liver. And when I talked to a couple doctors that looked at all the scans, they basically said you have 90 days to live. You have 3 months, that you're not going to exceed 3 months. This is way too late. We've discovered this, and we're really sorry to say this. Of course, I fell apart. Of course, everything around me collapsed. Of course, I freaked out, to say the least. It was like a big shock to my whole existence. And I just kind of stopped right there where I was. And I immediately, the next day on, I changed my diet. I stopped drinking. I stopped smoking. I started doing more yoga. I started eating greens. And I took a big dive into acupuncture and herbs with Chinese medicine. And I'll just fast forward and say that a year later I was still alive. And I was talking to this Chinese medicine doctor, and he said, well, it's been 12 months, so you've exceeded by 9 months what they had told you. I think it would be smart to do a CAT scan, MRI, to check and see what it really looks like now. And I decided then to come to the United States because I am American. So I came and I went to Johns Hopkins now in 2004. And when they saw me there at Johns Hopkins and they checked me with all the scans, so they said, they said, it looks really, really bad. It doesn't look good at all. I said, is there anything that I could do? And they said, what you should do is take care of your affairs. Again, to fast forward, because I think the interesting part comes later on, is that they connected me with the NIH through Johns Hopkins, and I did one surgery, and I think this is really important for everyone to hear. I did a surgery and gave up my right kidney, had a radical nephrectomy. So it took out my whole right kidney, which seemed to be the original place where it all had started, and then from there metastasized. But after my surgery, only a few months later, I went down to Peru and seeking to find shamans and healers. And I found myself kneeling, and I found myself on my knees several times going through this whole process. On my knees from fear, from pain, from regret, from losing my life that was imminent. And I found myself on my knees in front of this amazing shaman by the name of Don Francisco Flores. And he's if you want, the elder of the Q'ero Nations people, and a renowned, if you want, shaman. And I said, Don Francisco, please save me. I have cancer, I'm dying. I have a 2-year-old baby back home that I will never get to know his father if I die. And he reached down at me and he said, I can't heal you, but I can teach you how to become a shaman and you can heal yourself. And I think this is the point you're talking about, really, because before that it was doctors, it was CAT scans, it was others that I was giving my power to, and essentially giving up my whole destiny, if you want. Like, they were going to decide, they were deciding, they were telling me. And at that moment, there was this one man that said, don't give up your power to me or to anyone. You are the one that can decide your fate. You are the one that can do something. If there's anyone that can do something, that's you. And while I was on my knees and crying, when he said that, the first second he said, I can't help you, I was like, my heart sunk. I was in even deeper despair. But then when he said, I can train you to become a shaman and you can heal yourself, it was the moment that I stood up and I said, okay, I am your student right now. What do? I will become your best student. And I was thinking that, exactly that I was doing, and what I did. I am still his student 20 years later, 19 years later. And just the fact that I stood up on my feet, I feel and I know, was the moment that things changed. Was the moment that I really took things in my hands and really started creating a difference in what was happening within my body. And I say this to, as you know, we have a school, Nina and I have a school, Shamanism, of what's called modern shamanism and the science of healing. And what we share with people is how they can heal themselves. We have a big amount of healing tools that allow us to heal, that allow us to go back and see what is happening, either physically or psychologically. And from all the tools that I've learned, we're sharing these tools because they're very powerful and they make a difference.
Yes.
And I'll say this and open it. Yeah, I'll just say this and open to any questions you may have. But that I feel that it was really important that I did the operation, that I did surgery. And if it wasn't for my surgery at the National Institute of Health, I would not be here today. But it's also very, very important is that I met these people and changed my life, the way I see life, and changed who I was. Because if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't be here today.
Yes. Yes, I think that's a really important point, because what I've found is that there's people that think only allopathic medicine counts. And then I've met other people that think only complementary medicine things count. And they won't do the combination. But, all of these ways of healing have their place. And you removed a lot of the tumor burden, which made it easier for your physical body to recover. But, I think that there is, and we know this, that there's such a deep connection between your thoughts and feelings and what is going on and being created in your body moment to moment, that it really doesn't make sense that we compartmentalize these things. We're like, that's over here, you can do surgery and give you drugs, and then these other things over here, and, that there's no combination. When it's the whole body that has to heal, and that includes the mind and the emotions. And, if you want different outcomes in your life, no matter what it is, you have to do things different from what you've been doing. Because if you keep doing what you've been doing, you're going to keep getting what you've been getting. And, what you have just explained to us is an overhaul in every aspect of your being. And you are the proof that we find in the pudding, because it's 20 years, 19 years, and you're still here. And as an allopathic physician, metastatic stage 4 renal cancer, people don't survive for 20 years with just an allopathic approach, which they basically told you. You have 3 months to go because we got nothing else for you. And so, this is such a powerful point that I want people to really grasp. You have the power to utilize every modality out there. And it is really important to take back that power and to make the necessary changes that you have to make to heal yourself. And I think that, that I just had to have you share this story because people just really don't get it. Nina, I would switch gears a little bit because the two of you together are training people in modern shamanism. And so your story is actually quite unique about how you got to this point and teaching these teaching folks like me. I'm a student, and I'm thoroughly fascinated by what I'm learning each month. But tell us your journey here. We have a few more minutes in this segment, if you would, please.
Oh, of course. Thank you, Frenesa. And, every time I hear Ray share his story, I feel moved. And I think that's what this is all about, is about feeling our energy move and feeling the universal truths that we all experience as human beings. And I say that as a universal statement because, at a very young age, I found out about the martial arts. I kind of felt about the mysticism of the martial arts with the Karate Kid, and there was this book, The Way of the Peaceful Warrior by Dan Millman, that I had kind of I read and was inspired by. So from a very young age, I was intrigued by the mysticism, and I saw and I could feel there was something more to life. And so when I was 17, I was living in a small town in Maine, and I took a self-defense class, a 6-week aerobic self-defense class before I went off to college in Rindge, New Hampshire, which I can laugh, kind of smile at now. But I think back to that first moment of walking into a traditional dojo and experiencing the etiquette experiencing, what it felt like to walk into a sacred space, similar to walking into a church. There was incense, there was a candle lit. Everybody was kind of on their, almost like a library. Everybody was being quiet and on their best behavior, if you will. And I just fell in love with the virtues that I was learning, with the power and the strength of the movement. As a competitive athlete of gymnastics and diving and any movement practice you can imagine, I was also really attracted to the precision of the technique and really dove into mastering the technique and became a disciple. What that meant is I started living as a student in the dojo where the black belts were training, and we had 5 courses, and I kind of got a traditional Karate Kid experience. For 20 years, I lived closely with masters and got a chance to share with hundreds, thousands of students on this ancient movement. And after 20 years of sharing the techniques, of honing the techniques, developing my skills to become a black belt, to begin to develop the curriculum and then teach the black belts myself, it was quite a journey of personal transformation. And then when it was time for me to step away from that community, I met Ray and we began talking. And what was fascinating to me is the deep practice and study of the Taoist philosophy and the Chinese medicine that I had connected with in my martial arts journey through universal movement, which really blends the healing styles of martial arts, of Qigong and Tai Chi, and understanding of energy and the universal principles of energy, as well as the self-defense techniques. When I met Ray, we still haven't stopped talking about the parallels, and that's what we share in our school, the parallels between these wisdom practices. And these practices are for the mind of the ancient texts that we can read, and to me it's like drinking water from a fresh spring. It's just like truth, ever-present, ever-changing truth. And then the physical practices that really attune the body and allow all the systems to come into harmony. And then from there, the energy body, the emotional, socio-emotional well-being or spiritual side of things, really all kind of come into this place of harmony and expansion. And that's where I think Ray shares is like all of a sudden you're at the helm, you're in the driver's seat. And that's what happened to me at 17 as a young woman, walking into a school and saying, okay, you're in charge. Are you worth defending? Do you feel your life is valuable? If not, why and what areas? And so the martial arts really puts you in the driver's seat because it's not about turning to the person next to you for help. It's like, do you have the skills to defend yourself? Do you have the life skills to live a productive life, a life that you're proud of, that you feel that you're showing up as your highest self in? And if not, why and where can you lean into your training to support you so that you can begin to develop those areas that maybe aren't to the level that you want them to be?
Oh, that is so true. I think that that overlap that really gets down to this core nugget of truth that we are more than enough for everything, that we have the knowledge within to do anything, to heal ourselves, to help other people. And I just find it fascinating that such the culture of what you've learned versus shamanism, and in our class, we talked about Ayurvedic principles and how there's just when you distill these things down to their essence, it's really all about, I think, self-empowerment and understanding that I tell my patients this, every cell in the body is programmed to heal itself and to reproduce itself. Every cell in the body, it comes fully equipped to do everything it needs to do. And that translates to our whole body, our whole cells. And these practices, I believe, help us cultivate that on a deeper level in every aspect of our lives. And I just find it so fascinating and actually empowering. I feel honored to, be taking class and expanding my understanding, because, obviously I'm a physician and it's a very narrow approach to healing. But now, my blinders have been taken off and I've got this, 360-degree kind of view of, like, what the possibilities are. So when we get back, I want to talk more about the school and what you're teaching and, different things that you've noticed over the past years that you've been teaching the Jaguar Path. So, folks, hang in there and we'll be back on the other side.
Want to get that man or woman out of your mind? How about being in the right state of mind for getting that job promotion or staying positive to help boost your immune system? Want to break those old habits? Then it's time for an emotional cellular cleansing with Patty Conklin. You'll get a private 3-hour session in person by phone or by Zoom with 3 months of follow-up appointments, plus email support. But you'll have to do the work and homework materials are included. Find out more or to book your appointment, visit pattyconklin.com. That's pattyconklin.com.
Audiobooks gives you instant access to over 50,000 of the best sellers and hottest book titles in romance, mystery, fiction, and many other genres. Just visit HealthyLife.net's advertiser page and click on Audiobooks to get started.
If you're wondering if Patty can help you heal, why not book a free 15-minute consultation either by phone or by Zoom? It's a great way to see which of Patty's services is right for you. You'll discuss her services in detail and how they can apply to your specific situation. It's really a great place to start, and you can sign up for your free consultation by phone or Zoom on Patty's website, pattyconklin.com. That's pattyconklin.com. Get the help you need today. Sign up for your free consultation at pattyconklin.com.
ASMC, the premier German company that supplies everything for adventure, from outdoor clothes to outdoor gear, even backpacks. Lots of quality and lots of specials. To start your adventure, go to HealthyLife.net's advertiser page and click on ASMC.
Okay, I get it. You're a doubting Thomas, and you don't want to pay for something unless you can know what it's all about. Well, now you can find out just what Patty Conklin's energy healing is all about. Go to pattyconklin.com to sign up for her free group energy adjustment, held every Wednesday from 12 p.m. to 12:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Experience for yourself the transformative energy designed to bring calm and healing to your life. Space is limited, so sign up now. Go to pattyconklin.com, click on Services, and you're there.
Where positive people and radio unite. HealthyLife.net.
Okay, folks, we are back with Ray and Nina Crist, teachers of the Jaguar Path. And, we just had this amazing conversation about how you two came to where you are today and how there's such overlap from these ancient wisdoms. And so I'd like either of you, to just talk more about the school, how it's evolved over this last several years, and what you're finding that experience to be as teachers, but also for your students. So either one of you just jump in.
Absolutely. I'll just start by saying that we were raised in the Western world, and we're raised and we go to school, and we're taught all these things, and every one of us we're taught to learn something specific. Others learn how to be car mechanics, others electricians, others plumbers, others teachers, mathematicians, etc. And all those things are awesome and absolutely necessary. But there's one thing we're not taught. We're not taught about the basics of our vital organs, the basics of our emotions and our endocrine system, and how life itself works. How does this body work? And how does this body work in relationship with when I'm interacting with others? And how does that translate into our health and how healthy we are and how aware we are of our surrounding or every circumstance that we may find ourselves in. Coming from having a Greek mother, I've studied a lot of the Greek philosophy, and there's Socrates that said, "Know thyself, and you shall know the secrets of the gods and the whole universe." And it's not only the ancient Greeks, it's like you said, it's the Ayurvedics of ancient India, the Taoists in ancient China that created the martial arts, that created acupuncture, that created herbology. It is the shamans of the Andes whom we've studied with and we are still very close to, and we bring these tools. So it's basically ancient ways that are not philosophies really. They're sciences. They're the basic first sciences that every other science has stepped on to come to the place that they are now. So the idea of what we really teach is really basic and very important, and something that everyone can really clearly understand once you're getting into it. And I think that is probably your experience also being in the 5th month or the 4th month of the training with us. Our emotions, when we feel things, are basically really defined a lot from our childhood. But our emotions are more just than the emotions, more than, oh, my feelings were hurt. What we look into, and what these sciences look into, martial arts, yoga, the shamans of Peru, is that your emotions are really hormones that are secreted in the body. And an emotion makes you feel really sad. But what does that even mean besides your feelings being hurt? It means that your lungs have been affected, that the lungs is an organ that we really hold grief in. Chinese medicine tells us, and yoga tells us. If something made you really angry, someone did something to you that was a good reason for you to be angry, because sometimes people do things that upset us. But besides yourself feeling offended or being betrayed from something someone said or did, what does that really mean? That means that your liver was affected. And I won't go on and on deeper into this, but to just explain the basic is that all our emotions are translated into hormones that affect our internal organs. And if we stay in emotions, and people do stay in emotions, people will go through a divorce and for 10 years or 20 years hold emotions of vanity or this or that, and those emotions really affect our internal organs. It makes people find themselves in hospitals.
And the journey that Ray and I have been on of kind of gathering this information and integrating it into our everyday life, we've put it online now. Ray started teaching out of Kripalu Center for Yoga and Health in the Berkshires in the United States, and for over 15 years was teaching, hundreds of classes, thousands of people. And then that really lent itself to him founding the Jaguar Path School of Modern Shamanism and the Science of Healing. Through the COVID years, we ended up finding our way online and now have a beautiful community that's become international, which is amazing because the limitations of people getting to Kripalu or getting to Ray where he was offering through the Jaguar Path, those have dissolved. And what's really exciting, we're now able to offer with our partnership with Ubiquity University, where people are able to take the course that you're enrolled in with us and then continue on a degree course get their master's degree and or their PhD degree through our school in Ubiquity University. And so our personal kind of authentic hero's journeys we've really come to a place where our mission is to dissolve the barriers of anyone having limitation of accessing this ancient wisdom. And then for those that want to really integrate it into their area of expertise, whether they're a doctor, a life coach, therapist, any way of supporting our brothers and sisters, our neighbors, our beloved families, there's a way to dive deeper into the scholastic course path as well. And so it's been quite a journey, and we're really proud. We have our private membership sites. We are able to share everything on demand as well as live, and so it's really evolved through the years. I see as Ray beginning at a Kripalu Center, and then finding his own school. So it's really we're just excited because it feels very hopeful and expansive, and what I found, and really it was around like 2010 through 2015, something shifted where people are more open to leaning in to learn more, and in these last 10 years even more so. And so it feels like a really exciting time for all of us to begin to connect with this ancient wisdom in a more practical way so that we can really receive the benefits and the support.
Yes. I think a lot of that, I think, is because we are, at least in the United States, I can't speak for other countries, but we are living the failure of our modern medical system. And people are waking up and looking for answers elsewhere because the medical system that we have today is not healing people. And that's one of the reasons why, I got out. I realized that I was treating symptoms. People coming back, I give them a pill and their blood pressure is good today, since it's back. And so, I think people are just ready for something, for the truth. They're seeking it. They are feeling the pain and the failure of our current system. So we've got to take another break. When we come back, we will pick up where we left off.
The pulse of the blood in your veins means you're alive, but a high or low pulse could mean you're not in balance, which could cause problems. But now Patty Conklin has found 3 ways that can constantly make sure your pulse is kept in balance so you can move easier through life. Subscribe to Patty's Healing Pulse today. It has a plethora of things to do, discounts, book club, and so much more. Visit pattyconklin.com to find out more about Patty's Healing Pulse subscriptions. That's pattyconklin.com.
Reach your health and fitness goals. Whether you want to lose weight, learn to dance, build muscle, or just live healthy, Beachbody gives you unlimited access to the nation's most popular fitness and weight loss solutions. Visit our advertiser page and click on Beachbody now.
You may not be in the same room or even the same country, but Patty Conklin's remote energy work can help you heal whether you have an illness, emotional wounds, or are in spiritual turmoil. And she can do it remotely. You can choose your session time, too, starting from 30 minutes, 3 hours, or even 6-hour sessions. Healing energy. Healing you no matter where you are. Visit pattyconklin.com, scroll down to Remote Healing, and book your appointment now. That's Remote Healing at pattyconklin.com.
For the best in business class travel, count on Cheapo Air. Cheapo Air has the best price guarantee, 24/7 customer service, and easy booking online or by phone. To experience your hassle-free journey, start by going to HealthyLife.net's advertiser page and click on Cheapo Air.
If you're on pattyconklin.com, you might want to visit her store. There you can inexpensively buy powerful visualizations on a plethora of subjects, all to help you heal, help rebuild your immune system, work with color or tonal energy, help remove fear and depression, and so much more. Plus, you can get Patty's best-selling book at her store, To Be Your Best Too. God Within is a great book to teach you how to use the lost knowledge of the universe to impact your physical life today. Visit her store at PattyConklin.com. You'll be glad you did. PattyConklin.com.
Expanding your mind. HealthyLife.net.
Okay, and we are back. Just before the break, I was talking about how people are more open and they are searching for other answers answers about healing. We are recognizing in the United States, at least, that the current medical system is not healing people. You know, when I had a practice, a few years into it, I realized that I was basically putting Band-Aids on gunshot wounds. You know, I was not helping people actually get better. I was controlling symptoms, and I started to seek answers elsewhere and took all sorts of courses and learned all sorts of other things. But Ray, earlier you were talking about, thoughts and how thoughts and emotions are the release of chemicals in the body. And, and I said at the break, thoughts are things, and those thoughts and feelings and beliefs that then shape behavior, when they are chronic, they create changes in the body, physical changes in the body, down to the cellular DNA level. And we don't learn about this. We don't learn about this in medical school. I learned about this. My first introduction was Carolyn Mace's book, Molecules of Emotion. So talk more about that aspect, because you talk about it so well in class.
Absolutely. Well, I think we're talking about what we're not taught. We go about in life and we're taught, or at least I was, that what's successful is a successful career, and what is important may be, how much money you make. And we're going around life, we go about life with making ourselves laugh and have a good time through entertainment. And we're all hoping that we'll get, or most of us, that is, I feel, in the Western world, that, you'll get a bigger car or a bigger house, or you'll laugh more with more entertainment. But no one really looks into the emotions and how life truly is. If you're in a deeper place happy, if you're in a deeper place of yourself fulfilled, if you feel that in life there is reverence, that you're leading a life that is in alignment with some virtues of goodness, of compassion, of kindness. And all these virtues, when we talk about virtues, we're really talking about essentially better balanced hormones within the body. So if we live in a minute-to-minute entertainment, and I will catch a good laugh if I go to the movies, or if I'll be satisfied if I have a fast car, or a bigger home, or whatever it is. And there's nothing wrong with these things per se, but if it's only that, what happens is we end up with our emotions being really limited, and sometimes we're limited to some basic emotions and hard or difficult emotions that we feel, some anger that can remain behind us, and again, that will be affecting our liver all the time. Some sorrow that will be affecting our lungs all the time. Some fears that are left over that will create problems in our kidneys at some point. And we mask it all because we're not taught that these emotions that are running through our veins, we're not taught that these emotions are in our veins, feeding every cell of the body. So we think that the food is the yummy food I ate, and sometimes even people eating fast food, there's a fast satisfaction, and we think that that's okay. And in essence, it's by far not, because it's not fulfilling. It's not fulfilling in a deeper part of the heart and an essential self. It's not nourishing in an essential way. And what's happening is that we live, like you said, in chronic emotions of who we think we are. It's like, yeah, this is who I am. I'm an angry person. And if people like me, good. If they don't like me, I don't care. It's like, yeah, well, it doesn't matter to people. People don't care, really. If you're angry, you live with your anger. And that anger, again, is not about you being right or wrong. Because, again, one of the things that we mentioned in the Jaguar Path is, like, a lot of the times, most of the time, our emotions are valid. They're valid. There's a good reason I got upset about something. Yeah, someone did something wrong, and 100 people will agree. If you tell your friends, if you ask me, if you ask someone's opinion. But the thing is not that. The thing is, like, okay, besides that, beyond that, who's living in that anger that remains and that now is running in your veins? Who's living in that disappointment, in the letdown, in a place of being abandoned, and sensation of abandonment? And no fast food or entertainment or fast car or bigger house, and that's what we all try to do. We try to mask these pains, these hurts, these emotions. We try to mask and make a Band-Aid, like you say, essentially, to do a little feel-good for now, but deep inside, we're really feeling these emotions. And you know, that fast car or the big house does not heal it. There's nothing wrong with those things, but it doesn't really heal you in an essential level and an endocrine level. And that's where shamanism comes in. Shamanism is not some kind of magic that we're going to go find some guy or some woman with feathers in their head and they're going to magically heal it. That's what I really learned firsthand when I was looking for someone to magically heal me. And I go to the chief, if you want, to the elder, Francisco, and he says, no, that's not the way it works. Learn about yourself. Learn about how you think and what are the emotions you're running through your body. And that's what we do, as you already know, in the training. We go through emotions and where they live and how they live and how, patterns in the mind and how they're created, which, again, eventually, if they're chronic, like a trickle of water. Like, yeah, I can be angry and I'll put it in the back of my mind, I'll go to the movies and laugh. But that trickle of water of anger is still creating a deeper and deeper groove somewhere in my liver, somewhere in my stomach, somewhere in my spleen. And eventually I get sick and they say, we don't know what it is. We don't have no idea. Let's give it medications, chemicals to fight against this one isolated thing. Like I said, I'm going to say this again, that Western medicine can be really important, especially in an acute situation, in a car accident, in a big thing like we got to remove the tumor. Really important. But if I had just removed the tumor and went back to my stressful life, it would have been a year, probably not, probably less, that it would have come back and it would have died sooner. Then I would be looking to do another surgery, and you can take away only so many organs before you have to take away your whole self.
Right.
So
if you keep doing the same thing, you keep getting the same results.
Absolutely. So how do you change the way you think, and how are some practical tools? And what I share, again, and you know from the training, is how do we just let go of common sense, which we could see in the Western world has brought the world we're sprung in. It's not only the medical system that's failing us, it's the bank systems that are failing, it's everything that is failing. So how can we step out from this collective consciousness, unawareness, and this common sense that is bringing us to the brink of destruction, and come to what Carl Jung, the great philosopher and psychotherapist, called these ways of medicine, Chinese medicine, shamanism, they're uncommon sense that bring us to the deeper self and the deeper truth.
Yeah. Yes, and to hold that thought, we'll be right back after the break.
Patty Conklin is busy, but she's never too busy for you, and there are lots of ways to get a healing session with her. You can even get one via Zoom or by phone. With 29 years in the business of energy healing, Patty has a unique and remarkable ability to connect with your energy to help you heal on a mind, body, spirit level. From angst to pain, you can get help from Patty. Book a half-hour healing session and embark on your own personal healing journey. Visit PattyConklin.com and click on Services. That's PattyConklin.com.
If you're looking for unique items at affordable prices, then you should try Dream Product. From apparel to beauty, from shoes to therapeutic relief products, visit HealthyLife.net's advertiser page and click on Dream Products, and maybe your dreams might just come into reality.
Want to get that man or woman out of your mind? How about being in the right state of mind for getting that job promotion or staying positive to help boost your immune system? Want to break those old habits? Then it's time for an emotional cellular cleansing with Patty Conklin. You'll get a private 3-hour session in person, by phone, or by Zoom with 3 months of follow-up appointments, plus email support. But you'll have to do the work, and homework materials are included. Find out more or to book your appointment, visit PattyConklin.com. That's PattyConklin.com.
Get high-quality glasses, sunglasses, and prescription lenses at eyeglasses.com. Choose from over 250,000 items and 400 brands. Already have frames? Get replacement lenses. It's easy. Go to our advertiser page and click eyeglasses.com.
If you're wondering if Patty can help you heal, why not book a free 15-minute consultation either by phone or by Zoom? It's a great way to see which of Patty's services is right for you. You'll discuss her services in detail and how they can apply to your specific situation. It's really a great place to start, and you can sign up for your free consultation by phone or Zoom on Patty's website, PattyConklin.com. That's PattyConklin.com. Get the help you need today. Sign up for your free consultation at PattyConklin.com.
Radio your way. HealthyLife.net.
Okay, folks, we are back. This has been such a pleasure for me to just take in all this wisdom. And, at the break, Ray, you were quoting Carl Jung. So if you would just repeat that, because, want things to really sink in for folks.
Yeah, Ray was sharing about uncommon sense and how the belief systems and the collective consciousness have us oftentimes in this place where we're almost on autopilot and in a place of this copy and paste. And that's where we get the same results, doing the same thing day after day. Really, these thoughts end up hijacking us into this, like I said, that kind of an autopilot. And when things aren't going the way they need to be going for health and harmony and a joyful life of vitality, then we need to turn off autopilot and pause for a second and take a step back and say, okay, whoa, whose thoughts are these? Are these my thoughts? Are they intentional? And that's where it does require participation. It does require engagement.
Yeah,
definitely.
I want to say that
we have to do it.
We have to do it. Every single person has to do it. Living here in Greece, close to next to the temple of Hippocrates, created and established Western medicine. He revolutionized medicine by saying, back then in the day, 2,500 years ago, when people would get sick, they would say, "Oh, it's the gods that are punishing me, and now I'm sick and I'm dying because I did something and I offended Zeus or Hera or whoever." And Hippocrates said, "Wait a minute, guys. No, it's not the gods. It's the bad food you ate. You ate, food.
You didn't sleep last night.
you ate all this food that was like rotting out because there was no refrigerator. You ate food that poisoned you, and you're dying. You have to take responsibility for your health.
And you have to wash it. You have to keep yourself clean and do movement."
You have Asclepius. The god Asclepius had a daughter. One of his daughters was hygiene, and they started teaching people. So what happened, and I'll give it to you here, is that what happened is that we said, "Oh, okay, it's not the gods that are punishing us, and we won't look at the gods for our healing." And what happened, people took that responsibility that they were giving to the gods, and now are giving it to the doctors. They still have not taken on their own responsibility. Like, I'll go and eat bad food, and I have a fire emotion of anger, say. What I'm more likely to do is that I would like to also have a drink, and I'll put in that chemical of anger, I'll add the fire or the alcohol that's highly flammable. Many people also would like to add the chemical of smoking, nicotine and smoke, more fire. Or maybe hot foods, like hot chili peppers and
hot sauce.
And it's like, yeah, this is the food I like and I enjoy it. Yes, there's nothing wrong with enjoying it, but you're adding fuel to the fire.
Yeah.
Right. And then they come see me, and then want me to, tell them, oh, yeah, I have a pill for that too.
Yeah.
Which then, of course, that pill is going through your liver and stressing your liver on top of the alcohol, the fast food, the negative emotions and anger, and you have a recipe for disaster. We have been so duped in the United States in particular to believe that technology is going to save us. We have physical bodies that respond to certain principles. Okay? The body is responsive. It will rob Peter to pay Paul to keep the organism going. But at some point, things break down. And it all starts between the ears. Like you just said, we have to take responsibility for what we do and what we think on a regular basis, because our actions and our thoughts combined will lead us to either better health or worse health. And I've had people tell me, well, my grandfather smoked a pack of Camels, a day, and he lived to be 100. I hear that one all the time, and yeah, but there's one thing to be alive, and there's another thing to have a vibrant, active, joyful, happy life, where you are engaged and you are actually able to participate. And I think that, what these ancient teachings are telling us is that, this isn't just about one aspect of our life. It's about the entire package. It's about having that peace from within, right? Doing that introspection and cleaning out those energies, those thoughts and those things that were just dropped in as we've gone through life, and clearing those things out and being able to just be and be at peace and to be happy and joyful in and of ourselves despite the chaos that goes on in the world. I so appreciate what you're teaching, because I feel that this is true wellness. We can all do it. And you've taken, I think, teachings that for Americans seem so esoteric and so out there and, something that's not attainable. And you've made it available to anyone, to be able to learn these concepts and to apply them in your life, and also, to be able to apply them, to help your loved ones and neighbors. I mean, me personally, I feel like this has expanded what I can offer my clients, and I see people and I see the struggles that they have, and they're emotional, and they have symptoms that now I can see are directly related to the contract they made when they were little. That's just, eating at them. And so I thank you both for making this information so easily digestible and something that any person can really understand and apply. And I think that the more access people have to this true understanding and deep knowledge, the healthier we'll all be. But also, I think the healthier the world can be. You know, I was reading something that said that if you have a fire and you have a piece of wood and it's not really catching on, if you put it next to the fire that's raging going, then very soon that other log will be just on fire. And that's what you all are. You all, just your existence, you are that fire that is taking hold of everyone that you touch and inspiring us to go on and then, pass that torch down the line. And I thank you. And we have a few minutes left. Is there anything else you share? We have a minute left, so
thanks
to wrap up.
Thank you so much for your kind words, and we do feel that we hold the fire of these lineages. And in my third year of my apprenticeship with Francisco, and having gotten these beautiful results at the NIH with no tumors and just being healed, and having all the doctors saying, "Well, continue doing what you're doing." At the third year of my apprenticeship, Don Francisco said, "Now you have to start teaching this." And I was like, took 10 steps back. I'm like, how am I going to teach this? I'm a white guy. I was a photographer. I'm not going to teach this esoteric stuff with this Peruvian shamanism. And I said, how am I going to teach this? And he said, teach it in English. And he always has a sense of humor. And it's like, and that's what we do. We teach this stuff, every single person. Shamanism is not some kind of out of this world magic. There's mechanisms and some understandings that we make very clear of how we could apply certain things, how we can make changes from our diet, not only of the food, but what we look at, what we hear, what we see, what patterns we have. And when we make these changes, our life changes. And our health.
Excellent. Excellent. Thank you both so much. I just greatly appreciate you taking time out of your night to be with us today. And, folks, we'll be back next Thursday. Thank you so much for joining us. Stay well.